The Jhalak Prize is a book prize for BAM authors, Black, Asian and ethnic minority authors. And they've just announced their longlist. Let's go and have a look at the 12 books. None of the Above by Travis Alabanza. Travis Alabanza is a trans, feminine, non-binary author and theatre producer who has worked for the BBC among various high-profile jobs. Their book is a non-fiction about the 7 phrases people have directed at them about their gender identity. Some of them are innocuous, some of them are offensive, some of them are celebratory, but they're all sentences that have had an impact on Travis for better or worse. And they speak to the broader issue of a world that still sees gender in the binary. Travis discusses things such as the neoliberal hijacking of gender politics and how non-binary is so much more than a third box to tick. Talk about starting this list with a bang! This one would be great for anybody participating in Trans Girl April as well. Birdgirl by Mya-Rose Craig is another non-fiction. This time it's nature riding, and this book has the subtitle A Young Environmentalist's Look to the Skies in Search of a Better Future. Mya-Rose has visited every continent in search of birds. She has seen over 5,000 different species, which is more than half the species we have on the planet. Takeaway by Angela Hu is a memoir. Hu grew up in a rural Welsh Chinese takeaway. She saw her shop vandalised. She was verbally abused serving customers, an event that led to her dad appearing angry and with a meat cleaver. This is also a book about how to run a family business, the ritual of doing the tasks, and planning a trip to Hong Kong. Let's discuss the 6 fiction books that have been nominated. The Attic Child by Lola Jane. 2 children are locked in the same attic 100 years apart. Celestine is 12 and has been kidnapped from his homeland. Laura is an orphan girl born into wealth and privilege, but whose fortunes have changed. She finds carvings on the wall in a language she doesn't understand, a beaded necklace, and a bunch of clues to the life of Celestine, a mysterious historical fiction. Paterson Joseph has the novel The Secret Diary of Charles Ignatius Sancho. Charles Ignatius Sancho was a real-life person born on a slave ship, and he became the first black person to vote in England. He was an abolitionist and lived in the mid-18th century, a time when black slavery was common and rife in London. His life turned into an historical fiction. When We Were Birds by Ayanna Lord Banwo. Okay, I've got a confession. I have actually started this book and I have DNF'd it about 6 months ago. But if I tell you it's magical realism, regular viewers might not be put off. That is, unless they have the correct view of magical realism. This is set in Trinidad and Tobago. Yadiji comes from a long line of women responsible for helping the souls of the dead pass to the afterlife. Darwin is scared of death, but he also takes a job as a gravedigger to support his ill mother. This is a love story when these 2 characters cross paths. Here Again Now, one man, Achiki, invites his father to live with him. He and his best friend Aniki almost admit their feelings towards each other. Then a tragic event forces father and friend together. Grief will force these 2 men to try and understand and come to terms with each other. Losing the Plot by Derek Owusu. This book won the Desmond Elliott Prize for the Best Debut Author in the UK. This is Derek Owusu's desire to understand his mother's life before he was born. Told through the eyes of both mother and son, Derek tracks his mother as she moves from Ghana to the UK. This is an emotionally raw novel about migration. I'm a Fan by Sheena Patel. This one is on the Women's Prize longlist, and now it is on the Jhalak Prize longlist as well. A debut novel about social media stalking, human relationships, genuine connection, and the patriarchal heteronormative relationships. The last 3 books are all poetry collections. The Room Between Us, Denise Saul. This is about a mother's illness and the daughter's role as a carer. This is about how language is inadequate to describe a painful experience. Hiding to Nothing by Anita Pati. This is poetry about violence and the aftermath it leaves. It is about empires and the aftermath and the devastation that empires leave. It also covers ideas around body image and around self-worth. Another Way to Split Water by Alycia Pirmohamed. This is about how ancestral stories transform over time, how language unfolds in new ways and takes us to unforgettable places. That is the 12 books. What books stand out for you? I have to say that for me, it is the Charles Ignatius Sancho book about the first black man to vote in the UK. That sounds delicious. I also think None of the Above sounds so thought-provoking. And Here Again Now sounds like the sort of book I would love too. This was a long list that I wanted to consider reading, but unfortunately, and this probably points out why we need this prize, I think, when I was looking for the availability of some of these books, looking how I would be able to get hold of them, several books I had real trouble with, some of which I can only buy secondhand from eBay secondhand. One of the collections of poetry is 47 pages and I would have to pay almost 60 Australian dollars for it, which is more than $1 a poem. And I often make jokes about how worthless the Australian dollar is, but it turns out when you collect 60 of them together, I don't think that's worthless at all. I would really encourage people to go out and to read the books that they have access to on this list, because what is really holding back these brilliant authors with these really exciting sounding books is the availability of them to the public. So if you've got them at your local library or you can buy them from your local bookshop, please do so. Now, let me know in the comments which one of these books really spark your interest. Which are the books that you would like to read? And will you be following this prize? Bye-bye.